Hi, I'm Trisha Lee for Big People Tings, and I got this question based on our first episode.
So, just a quick question. Are there any affordable ways to travel so that I can get some or the same kind of experience that Brittany has?
If you want to know what Brittany's experience was, click the link in the description below to check it out. Now, we've seen a ton of travel hacks on social media for young people to travel. They tell you what are cheap places to travel internationally right now. Also, how you can travel without spending too much. So, if you're really interested, I'm sure you can find some good tips on cheap ways to travel. But if you want cheap places to travel right now, your main question should be, how do I make a travel budget? Real quick, I'm going to break down the costs so you have a realistic expectation of what we mean when we say cheap travel. The list only gives a few examples of resources that you can use. There are tons of others online. So the basics are your visa, airfare, accommodations, meals, and what I call miscellaneous. Now, for the visa, there are over 60 countries that Jamaicans can travel to without needing a visa, like beautiful Mexico, Botswana, and Malaysia. Also, as a Jamaican, you would hold a CARICOM passport, and this means you can enter about 12 or more other member states of the community and stay for up to 6 months, no visa necessary. For about another 20 countries, you can get an e-visa, which means you don't visit a visa application center, but rather you apply online and get your visa by email. This list includes countries like India, the United Arab Emirates, and Ethiopia. For almost another 30 countries or so, you can apply for the visa at the airport after you land, like the historic Egypt, Madagascar, home of King Julian, and Rwanda, an emerging jewel in Africa. For the rest of the world, you must get the visa in your passport before you leave the country. And there are varying costs for these visas. So consider what country you're going to, check if they are visa-free or visa required. The next thing is airfare. Flights.google.com allows you to search for flights from all airlines all across the world. Once you enter your departure information, you're good to go. You can then go from there to the booking sites. Just ensure that you read the fine print and make note of things like additional prices for your carry-on or your check-on bags, overnight layovers, and so on. And don't skip your travel insurance. The next thing is accommodations. There are tons of small hotels and bed and breakfasts that you can book into. Some cities, however, are just plain expensive. So I'd recommend, where possible, stay just outside of the city in the suburbs and then drive in for your day trips and tours if you can. Now, our next option is some really cheap Airbnbs. We cannot knock it. I actually went digging for you and got some actual prices. So for a 1-week stay in August 2023, there were many beautiful options on Airbnb. A desert experience with the camels in Morocco was for as low as Jamaican $11,000. In Malaysia, you could get a studio for $13,000, fully equipped with a little kitchenette, living area different from the bedroom. In Sweden, there's also a 31,000 countryside cabin, really scenic, really beautiful, refreshing. In Spain, a $56,000 castle was also on offer. It doubles as a monastery, so you know what kind of environment to expect there, but you're still saying, I've stayed inside a castle. You can also volunteer or serve in exchange for your accommodations. Sites like trustedhousesitters.com allows you to care for pets while the owners are away. There's some beautiful homes all over the world. You just have to love animals. So whether it's cats, chickens, dogs, goats, people might have to go on vacation or visit family abroad, and they just need someone to look after the house and the animals while they're there. For worldpackers.com, they facilitate volunteering your skills like teaching, social media marketing, and so on in exchange for room and board. Usually as well, they'll include a meal or all 3 meals for the day, transportation to and from the airport. You'll have access to locals who are usually more than willing to give you a lay of the land, introduce you to different things that are special and unique to their culture. Our next thing is meals. We have to eat while we're there, right? So try to book accommodations that include at least breakfast. It covers one of your meals for the day, gets that out the way if you have a struggle or if you have a full itinerary plan for the rest of the day. Google Maps can show you a lot of local restaurants in the area with the dollar signs to give you an idea of cost. Now, if you book a suite with a kitchenette, you can also cook your own meals. You can mix restaurant food and fast food joints with supermarkets if you're not a foodie type traveler. Now, the final thing is miscellaneous. Spending money is essential. You'll want to tour the place, right? So check out certified or accredited tour companies so you don't get scammed. And a lot of Airbnb hosts are very helpful with showcasing what their country has to offer. There are fees that you may have to pay at the airport, for instance, if your bag is overweight when you're heading back home, stocked it up with all the souvenirs. If something goes wrong and your luggage doesn't arrive with you in a foreign country the same time as you may need to buy clothes, toiletries. The airlines will usually compensate you for this, but if, for instance, that takes a little while, you can move ahead. Will you need to fulfill certain health requirements to travel to certain countries? Like a PCR COVID test is a must for travel to specific countries. But also beyond COVID-19 vaccine, other vaccines might be required, like chickenpox, meningitis, malaria, or others. So check the embassy website for details to see if the country that you're coming from requires a vaccine. Will any bills be due back home while you're away? Remember to set up automatic or other payments while you're gone. And when you get back home, will your fridge be empty? Plan to eat out when you just return, as you may be too tired, or spend a few days recovering from jet lag when you get back and want to take it easy. So those are the main elements. Now, a bonus. You can consider other things like scholarships. One great way to see the world is to get a scholarship for university abroad. If you get that kind that covers tuition and your living expenses for the whole year or for the whole period, you're set. There's also taking a job overseas or starting a business. We know say, yeah, so nice. But you could live and work abroad for a time and then come back home to Jamaica. Your budget in this instance would have to include a work or investment type permit or work visa, depending on the country. It might also require you to make multiple trips until you secure a job. If you're a Christian, the owners of the bookship, Logos Hope, also run a program called Scatter Global, and they offer jobs globally. So let's put it all together. Let's say you're a marketing student and you want international experience. There is a place like Kenya. World Packers, as at the recording of this video, has space for a volunteer social media manager on a social project for between 3 to 6 weeks in Nairobi, Kenya. You get 3 meals a day, language lessons, and stay in a shared dorm or get a discount on accommodations at other hostels. They also offer pickup from airport when you arrive. The airfare, if you go through Toronto, Canada and Frankfurt, Germany to get to Kenya, your return flight in August 2023 for a 4-week stay costs around 718,000 Jamaican dollars. Visa to Kenya, $0. It's one of those precious countries where Jamaicans can travel without a visa. Canadian transit visa is Canadian $85 or around Jamaican $10,000 for biometrics. Germany, a Schengen area country, the transit visa is €80 or about 14,000 Jamaican dollars. And you'll want a little miscellaneous money. The Jamaican dollar is actually valued more than the Kenyan shilling at about 1 Jamaican to 180 Kenyan shilling, but their cost of living is way better. So a loaf of bread in Jamaica is over $300, right? But in Kenya, it's 44 or 0.44 shillings or less than $1. So if you travel with even 10,000 Jamaican dollars for the month, you should have adequate spending money. That's a total of 752,000 Jamaican dollars for the experience of a lifetime to a whole nother continent and side of the world, helping to make a difference and expanding your perspective. Let's now look at Peru. Let's say we want to go to Machu Picchu and the Sacred Valley in the Andes mountain range. For a week in August 2023, the airfare to Lima, Peru is 115,000 Jamaican. This is traveling from Mobay with an overnight layover in Fort Lauderdale, USA. This includes your carry-on bag. And a friend of mine gave me a little trick as well. I learned that you could pay as little as $97,000 if you buy 2 tickets, one from Mobay to Miami and then a second ticket from Miami to Lima. It's sometimes cheaper to book tickets from outside of Jamaica, from one of the more centralized international airports like Miami or JFK. Now, another $20,000 would be required on your domestic flight from Lima in Peru to Cusco, which is then a 4-hour train ride to Machu Picchu. You could arrange hotel transfer or take a shuttle and train for Jamaican $20,000 one way or $40,000 when you're coming back home. Your US transit visa fee, if you don't already have a US visa, is Jamaican $29,000 around now. The Peru visa fee is $0. Then I saw an Airbnb in the Sacred Valley for Jamaican $18,000 for the 6 nighs. Your miscellaneous money for tour guides, food, etc. is about 21,000 Jamaican dollars to cover any extra meals and souvenirs. So your total would be Jamaican $243,000 to visit one of the wonders of the world. Now, I am not a globetrotter. As yet, I hold dreams of doing that. So this is just based on my research. Actually going and doing it, you might end up that you discover other costs. So I'm inviting all my Jamaican globetrotters out there to submit your trip details beyond the USA or Canada that included all of these elements and cost under 250,000 Jamaican dollars. Conditions apply, right? I am not a travel agent. Exchange rates may vary, time passes and prices change. Airline fees may vary. I've not personally been to any of these countries. I just Googled pricing. I just did the research for you. That's it. Tour companies and travel agents might better help you to plan your trips and assure you of a great experience. They'll know all of the wonderful sites you'll want to check out, some of the secret hiding spots that are less touristy, but provide for a great and memorable time. So I'm just giving you a general idea of what's possible and adding a figure to what we call cheap travel. So make it meaningful when you decide to travel. And if this helped you, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, keep your questions coming by email to big.ppl.tings@gmail.com. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at big.ppl.tings. Share this video with a prospective travel buddy. And thanks for watching. As I wrap up, I leave you with this. People all around the world are amazed at the wonderful things you do. You make all people, east and west, sing with joy. Psalm 65, verse 8, easy to read version.